this video has probably found you at one of the most perfect points in your entire life, because if you've clicked on this, it's more than likely because you're going through some form of heartbreak. And heartbreak sucks. It is one of the worst things that can happen to you. You feel like you had your person, then you lost your person, and through that process you feel like you lost the most important person in the universe, which is you. And now you're sitting there thinking to yourself, what do I do? Who am I? You might think to yourself, I lost myself in that relationship. I don't feel like I know who I am anymore. And for that exact reason, I'm here to tell you that this is the beginning of one of the biggest growths in your entire life. You probably see other people come out of relationships and in 6 months, 12 months time, they're a completely different individual. And that's not just luck, that's not coincidence, this is pure neuroscience and psychology. Because what happens when you go through heartbreak is you say phrases like I just said, like, I don't know myself anymore. I lost myself. You probably think to yourself, what do I do with myself? What do I do with myself? I've now got all this time that I was invested in this one person. Like, what do I do? And who am I? Who are you? You probably think to yourself, I don't really know who I am. And this sucks. And when you're going through this season in your life, you don't realize it right now, but there's a future version of you that is going to be so grateful for what you're going through right now. And it's because of these sentences right here. What do I do? I don't know myself. I lost myself. Who am I? These sentences right here are the most influential sentences which will come out of your mouth in the next few years. And the reason for that is because heartbreak actually equals identity break. And whenever we're trying to change our external reality, you're trying to change something about yourself, what you're actually trying to change is your identity, your self-concept, how you view yourself. Because you are the creator of everything in your reality. Reality is not as it seems, it's simply how you perceive it through the lens of your identity. That's why we call it the universe, because the universe starts with you. And everything in which you do, all the beliefs in which you have, all the natural habits, subconscious patterns, belief systems, they all orientate around you because you are the creator of everything within your reality. You are quite simply the beginning and the end of everything. Nothing exists outside of your reality other than how you perceive it, because it is created directly through you. And when you say these things, like, I don't know myself, I don't know what to do, I lost, all of these things is because right now you are having what we call an identity crisis. And the amazing part about an identity crisis is that you can completely reinvent yourself from a clean slate. And that's why you see people come out of a relationship and they're completely different. They're like, oh, all of a sudden they try new hobbies, they inhibit new habits, they become a different person. Most people do. And that's because they now have a clean slate to rewrite their identity from. What you don't realize is that that other person who you were in that relationship with was actually holding you back from you becoming a new person. And you have to become a new person to see your world change. Because in order to have something in which you haven't had before, you have to be someone in which you haven't been before. And when you're with somebody, that's incredibly hard to do because they have this perception of you. They fell in love with this perception of you, of who they thought you were. And every action which you do, which is out of alignment with that, they go, I don't really recognize you anymore. How many times have you got to the end of a relationship, or how many times have you come to the end of your relationship right now, and the other person says, I don't really recognize you, you're a different person. Those belief systems that they have about you are directly affecting your subconscious mind. And then what you're trying to do is you're then trying to act in the old identity of you. And you cannot act in your old identity and expect yourself to become a new person, because everything stems from identity. Your identity is the beginning of your thought. The thought is the beginning of an emotion, and emotion is the beginning of the actions which you take, and the actions in which you take lead to the manifestations of your reality changing. That will not change unless you become a new person. And by letting go of the other person, that actually means that you're letting go of a version of you, which is exactly what you want. Because you're trying to become something new, you're trying to change, you're trying to make something better of yourself. Maybe you're trying to lose weight, maybe you're trying to start a business, maybe you're trying to become an athlete in something, maybe you're trying, whatever it is you're trying to do, you have to become somebody new to have that thing. It goes back to what we say in the Bible, and I reference this in so many of my videos. Be fruitful, you multiply and subdue, and you will have dominion. There's a reason why this is in Genesis 1:28, because you cannot have, do, be, you cannot do, have, be. Be the person, do the things, and have the things in which they need. And all those things that come from be is code word for your identity. And unless you change your identity, your be won't change. Your do won't change and it will feel forced. You'll then self-sabotage. You'll go back to what your be actually is. Therefore, you will never have what you want to have. And this is why heartbreak is such an amazing thing for people. And you don't really realize it right now, because this is how life works. Right now, this is your timeline of your life. This is everything before the breakup, and this is everything after. And right now, you probably look back and go, everything's made a lot of sense. You can look back at the things and events and the traumas and the misfortunes in which you've had in your life, and they've more often than not, they always, it's a reframe, they always make sense. This person introduced you to this person, and all of a sudden that got you interested in this hobby, and now you're in this. It doesn't, do you see how this manifests itself? Everything is a butterfly effect. One thing led to another, which led to another. And if these things don't happen, you cannot grow as a human being and things can't change. So that's why when you're standing here in this spot right here, you can look back and go, all of this makes sense. Of course I failed this exam, and I failed this exam because it pushed me into this career. I met this person, they opened this door, and now I do this for a living. Or my friend was into the gym. I was good friends with this person, and now I'm into the gym. But when you're looking forward and you're in the moment right now, all of this seems hard to grasp. Or you think, why? Or you think, I don't know why this has happened. When in reality, of course you don't know. But if you were to ask yourself about the things that have happened before right now, did they make sense? You'd go, absolutely. And there's going to be a future version of you that's maybe somewhere like here along the time frame, maybe here, maybe way off into the distance, that will go, this thing, this heartbreak that I'm going through right now, I needed to go through in order to unlock these levels of me becoming. That's very, very hard to do, because right now you feel sad, you feel disappointed, you feel let down, and you're in this void of nothingness and you don't quite know where to go. But I'm here to give you some relief to that and tell you that you're at the beginning of something new. You're in a magical spot right now, because you're in a space where you can create, you can become, because you are a blank canvas. So ask yourself, who do I want to be? You're seeing this now as a space for you to create that person which was always inside of you that you never felt like you could unlock, without this other person perceiving you as that to be not the person in which they wanted in the first place. Relationships are funny, because people don't often grow together, they grow apart. And then when people attempt to grow apart, what actually happens is that growth is reversed, and they always end up back to where they were. And then you get two unhappy people. You get two people which thought, oh, well, why can't I make progress in life? Why does everything seem to come back to where we first started? Why are we having the same arguments? That's because you were two people that were trying to go in separate directions that are both, without realizing it, like a magnet pulling each other back. So right now, you're going through heartbreak. You no longer have this magnet. You no longer have somebody pulling you back. What you actually have is room to grow. And for that reason, you're at the beginning of a new season of your life where you can recreate exactly who you want to be. It's just your choice. It's your choice. Like I said, the universe starts with you, so who do you decide to be? What version of you are you going to start and decide to step into? Who is it that you want to exhibit in the world? What is it that you want to have? Reverse it. Have, do, be. Reverse the have into the do's, into the be. Who are you going to be in order to achieve that version of the things in which you have? When you start to do that, you'll realize that your heartbreak was one of the greatest things that could possibly happen to you. And now you can step into this version of you, which you've got free reign to create. You've got free reign to be whoever it is that you want to be without somebody dragging you back. So right now, you're just where you need to be. You're going where you need to be going. Sit through this, realize this is all part of the bigger picture. Because like I said, all you've done is this. You don't realize that you've got all of this ahead of you. Nothing makes sense looking forwards, everything makes sense going back. Here's your chance. Reinvent yourself, become something new, become somebody in which you thought you never could be, and you won't have that other person holding you back. Much love.